Hi there! Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a very hot topic, and I'm going to give my opinions even though nobody asked for them. Yeah, the TikTok ban. Okay, so I just wanted to give my thoughts on this TikTok ban. It affects a lot of people who operate their businesses online. I am by no means a very large business or a very large creator at all, but um, this is something that still affects me. And if you are a writer as well and you're trying to market your books online, this is something that also affects you. So it's good to be in the know. So if you don't know, the other day the House overwhelmingly voted yay to go ahead with this TikTok bill. Um, it's not an outright ban. I think there's some misinformation online about it. It's not an outright ban, but basically it is a forceful ask for the company that owns TikTok to sell it to an American corporation within 6 months. And if not, then they are going to limit its use within the United States. They're going to put pressure on like Google or other app stores to like not put TikTok in the app stores or whatever. And then that it operates like a ban if if the company that owns TikTok decides not to sell. Um, this had bipartisan support, which I think surprises and angers a lot of people, um, just because we don't see that sort of support on other issues that we feel are just as, or if not more important than banning TikTok. Um, the claim to go forward with this bill that's put by a lot of people is that there's issues with data security and privacy, and they don't want foreign entities to have any information on the private lives of US citizens, basically. My pushback to that is basically we know that our governments and other governments and whoever already buys data information from Meta and other social media platforms, and not just social media platforms, but even telecommunications companies like T-Mobile and AT&T. Um, so if it really was about data protection, there would be some overarching bill that would affect multiple platforms and not just TikTok, right? There's something that's already got passed in Europe. In Europe, that is like basic data protections. It's not much, but it's a start. Um, but that same mindset isn't here. It is very much it's very much only targeted specifically at TikTok because of its affiliations with, like, I think the CEO is from Singapore, and its affiliation with foreign entities. It's also important to note that there's other shareholders for TikTok that aren't Chinese or Asian or whatever, that there are American investors within TikTok as well already, but they're just trying to get complete ownership over to the US. I've been saying this for a while within my own personal circles that social media platforms, there needs to be better regulation because right now they're operating almost as like a monopoly or monolith with Meta. I'm kind of sick of Mark Zuckerberg right now, and because now Meta owns Facebook and Instagram, which are two huge platforms, and Facebook's already had its number of controversies about like misinformation during certain elections, and the fact that there's so much inappropriate content on Facebook in regards to children. Um, that needs to be handled, and the security for Facebook slash Instagram now, since they're owned by the same company, is very slim. Also, the metrics behind that, because I when you operate like, so Meta has like a built-in social media metrics background thing. I don't know the proper term for it because I don't have a professional social media job, but and like an analytics, right? So um, there is a content planning tool within Meta that you can use on the back end, and you can see your analytics and you can like pre-schedule content and stuff. I use Metricool for that because it automatically connects to like multiple platforms at once. But Facebook has a free version of that too. Metricool is free if you're only using it for like one business account, but if you have like multiple accounts on there, then you have to pay money. I just use it for my own author self, so I don't need any other business account. But anyway, yeah. So Metrical is free if you have one account, but then Meta also has their own free version of that where you can post, plan, schedule content for Facebook and Instagram. So yeah, and now they have Threads, which is a rival to Twitter, and I might make my own separate video on this, but I got on Threads right when it like launched, and I was able to build up a following. And right now, it's like my biggest following out of all my social media stuff. And I was really a big advocate for Threads in the beginning because it seemed like a not wholesome, but like a pretty like the book community there was popping, and everybody was like cool, and people just like shared memes and stuff, or they just like talked about writer stuff, like relatable writer stuff, and it was a great peaceful place. And then the Fire Nation attacked, and nowadays, like within the short span of time, like Threads is just kind of toxic now, with like everybody being really divisive and yelling at each other and yelling at strangers, thinking that they're doing something. And there's a lot of rage baiting and a lot of just like rage content farming, which I don't jive with at all. Um, so I might make a whole other video just about that, because I'm really disheartened by it. But anyway. that aside, I promise these points feed into my greater point about TikTok and the points of TikTok, even if it's a flawed app in general. Okay, so Zuckerberg owns these three platforms, which Threads is meant to rival Twitter or X. Elon Musk bought Twitter/X and is tanking it. I've never been on Twitter, and I am not going to get on anytime soon. So maybe that's why that rage baiting back and forth, constant fighting online, I don't normally see, because I've never partaken in Twitter/X. So maybe this is like a culture shock to me. I don't know, but that's also there. But businesses have been leaving X because of Elon Musk's antics, and so I don't know about the lifespan of Twitter moving forward. And then you have like YouTube, right? But that's owned by Google, and it's its own separate thing. But right now you have like two big players, pretty much, right? I don't think that is a good thing, and I think any sort of independent social media platform should be encouraged, because I think we need for more variety of stakeholders, especially when it comes to social media that stores our information or is a platform for communications in general, right? So we already have the threat of a monopoly going on there. Of course, why wouldn't you want? And Mark Zuckerberg, I believe, I need to fact check myself on this, and I will. Editing me will do this, but I believe Mark Zuckerberg has tried to buy out TikTok before and has been refused TikTok. So that's a little fishy, right? And now you're forcing essentially TikTok to sell to an American company in order to operate within the US. Girl. Right. Anyway, I know also, what's that guy, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, has also offered to buy TikTok. The thing is, TikTok is a very successful platform about retaining users and attention spans. And I know you can say that our attention spans have been shortened by TikTok. I do not doubt that whatsoever. But when you have YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels trying to reimagine the magic of TikTok within their own platforms, TikTok's doing something right. That's all I'm saying. The girls imitate, okay? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Like, let's be for real. So yeah, so we see the business side of this, right? That why you have the why, but I just also think that like this sort of, I already explained the data thing and why I don't think that's a genuine concern. But could you imagine like the U.S. furniture lobbyists trying to bully IKEA into selling to an American company, or else they can't sell IKEA furniture in the US anymore? Like, that whole argument is silly to me and xenophobic. But anyway, so that's my point, right? This is just a strongman thing. Also, there's like the more conspiracy-ish there's also the more conspiracy-ish thing that people have been talking about on TikTok, and I get this on my feed a lot. But election year is coming up. TikTok has been a tool for people to talk about information that's not being presented normally in the news all the time. Now, is that grounds for misinformation too? Of course. but I think a lot of rallying for Palestine and like the Free Palestine movement has come from TikTok, and I think that's what's garnered a lot of individual support, and why we support why a lot of people support a ceasefire going on right now between Israel and Palestine. Even though our government doesn't necessarily agree with that, because our government is a huge ally to Israel and has been since the inception of Israel, right? So you have this growing public distrust on TikTok, and yeah, obviously, if we're about to get more involved in this, then you don't want public outcry. So what are you going to do? You're going to suppress people's ability to share information in a very quick way. Now, like I said, misinformation is rampant on TikTok. You got some weirdos on there saying a whole bunch of stuff. Especially during the COVID pandemic, people were telling each other all these weird fucking remedies to try to cure COVID that were very dangerous. So you have to learn discernment, right? But there's other core issues that should be considered, because a lot of activists use TikTok to organize or to get the word out about pop-up events or protests or whatever. And they communicate in a way that's quicker than you can communicate on other platforms, or you can organize on other platforms. TikTok is instantaneous. It's also short form video content. So I'm kind of circling back to my thing about like my criticism of Threads and how divisive that is. I feel like this is just my personal opinion, that I can see content from people who are everyday people, right? And that's the beauty of it. They're everyday people, but I know that because I can see them in their natural environments, and I can see them make a jokey joke, or I can see them post a hot take, sure, but then I can just like scroll away easily and not engage with that content, right? Or if they are doing the rage baiting or whatever, there's a very easy way to block that from your feed, and your algorithm's so tailored to you that you might not see that. Now, that does give confirmation bias. Like if you only have information that's being fed to your algorithm specifically for you, that's how you get into the incel pipeline real fast. You know what I mean? So it's good to engage with other people from different backgrounds. But if I see people making a jokey joke, like that could just be from like another American person or another, from wherever in the world. And I think that people are much less likely, in my opinion, to rage react or knee jerk react when you're watching someone talk in a video like on YouTube or on TikTok than you are when you just type a sentence without any context. I think people can better articulate themselves when they post videos than they can if they're writing like a 200 character post hot take that can be misinterpreted, or whatever. Like I feel like TikTok is actually a better place to have video discourse or discourse between normal people than it is like on a platform that's just text based like Twitter or whatever, or Threads, where people are just coming at each other and they don't see each other as faces. They see each other as like a sentence on a text on a blank background and like a weird profile picture, right? Not everybody posts video content with their face in it, but still, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? I just, and like you can like video reply to people and just have like an extended conversation and dialogue. Some people, no matter what, are going to be committed to misunderstanding you, right? Even if you say something you don't mean or whatever. Some people are always going to be committed to misunderstanding you, and you can't change that. But I do believe that TikTok has the ability, oddly enough, to humanize people when they post videos on there than if it was just like a text-based thing or a picture-based thing, kind of like how Facebook and Instagram operate. Because yeah, you can put Instagram reels, but a lot of people aren't making reels anymore because the engagement and the reach isn't there. That's another thing I got to complain about. This is just turning into a whole rant, but like my TikToks really have never popped off. And I don't know why, and that's okay, right? It doesn't work for me, but I've seen it work for literally thousands of other people, and they've been able to have secondary income because of that, right? Because they had a video go viral or something, and now they're using that to, I don't know, maybe the annoying one is to like post ads, but like, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. The economy is hard. I'm not gonna judge someone for getting like a freaking onesie or or a stepper, like an exercise stepper, and trying to sell it to me. Like I'm not gonna do that because we're in a recession. I'm not gonna judge anybody for trying to make extra cash, right? But even if you're just into TikToks for commentary or entertainment or whatever. That's an income stream for folks, whether that's secondary income or the primary income, right? That we have a internet economy right now, where content creation is paying bills for people, and if you take an entire platform away from those people, people are losing their jobs. Like this isn't just like, oh, kids have brain rot. They do. I have brain rot, hello. But it's also, you have to consider that you're eliminating an entire industry from operating within the US. I think that's why so many people are trying to flock over to Instagram and YouTube. But the problem is like Instagram reels don't get that much traction either. Like mine always got like around 200 views or whatever. But I went viral on Instagram one time, and I got like almost 90,000 views, I think it was, on one of my reels. But like since then, it's been really hard to even get a couple hundred, you know what I mean? And sometimes I put in low effort content. Like I'm human. Like I'm not gonna have like a highly edited, perfectly. I don't have the funds to have like movie quality cameras and shit. I'm filming on my phone. Um, you know, but yeah, it's hard to recreate that TikTok magic over on the algorithms, because on TikTok, or it's hard to create the TikTok magic or recreate it on Instagram, because Zuckerberg just doesn't push that engagement like that on Facebook or Instagram. You really have to work for it. Like I've been sitting at the same follower count for a long time, despite posting every single day, and my stuff just doesn't go out there. And like I don't really complain about it much, because I assume that everybody's in the same boat. But I don't know. So it's also a way to divert traffic too. So now people sign up for these meta programs, or they hop onto YouTube or Google. I enjoy YouTube as a platform. I always have. Um, I watch a lot of long form video content. I try to do the YouTube Shorts thing, but again, that doesn't really work for me. I barely get a view, and it's not like my videos get a lot of views anyway on YouTube. It's hard for smaller creators on here, but it's just like, yeah, it's just a way to keep poor people poor, I guess. I don't know, but fuck, I don't know. I'm just complaining at this point. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so yeah, banning TikTok, getting rid of people's livelihoods, losing the personhood behind social media, because yeah, people could talk to the camera on reels, but I feel like the reels culture is a lot more like based on the audio bites and making like short little snappy videos than it is like sit down and talking, the same way TikTok can do that, where they were pushing people that are sit down talking on the camera with their face, and not so much using those sound bits, especially when the sound bits got banned. Not all of them, but like there, I think Ariana Grande took hers off of there, or am I lying? I might be lying, but some music company took their shit off TikTok, and then a lot of people started talking and sitting down more, and it was more popular. um that kind of style is on YouTube, and I think that's why I would, if that was me, I would probably gravitate towards YouTube more. But it just sucks, because you're bullying these people to get on platforms that don't actually help them. Not to mention the creator program payments. I think, from what I understand, I'm not getting paid for shit on YouTube right now because my account is small. So if you want to change that, please engage with me and subscribe. That would be great. Yeah, I don't get paid shit, but I, from what I can understand, is that once you hit a certain threshold in TikTok, it is far easier to make money on TikTok as a creator than it is on some of these other social media platforms. I don't think Instagram pays at all unless you get sponsorship from outside companies to do ads and posts and shit. And then like YouTube does have like a creator program where you get paid, but you have to meet certain thresholds. Like you have to have a certain amount of views consistently over time, in addition to a certain amount of subscribers and a frequency in which you post. And like, because I checked that a couple of times, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch time throughout the regular watch time throughout the year. And then like you have the normal videos, and then you have the short watch time that could also be another thing. But in order to like reach that threshold for like just on YouTube Shorts, you need like 1 million views or something like that. It's kind of high. Yeah, it's hard. Whereas I think for TikTok, I think if you get, I don't know, I'll have to ask my friends who actually post on TikTok more. Right, but yeah, editing me will also put the information here. I swear to God, I will do more research and like while I edit this video and put numbers up, because I'm thinking, I'm just going off of my emotions right now. I'm talking through my emotions. I'm talking through where my head's at and where I've seen other people make videos, and I'm just adding some extra context to what I've already seen, and then I will also add the figures here for you guys as well. But yeah, I'm not crazy about this. And again, I get the negatives of TikTok. It is the algorithm is sort of predatory because it really encourages that dopamine hit every time you scroll up like this. It's hard, and for a developing brain, it's even harder. And it's social media addiction is real. Um, Being chronically online is a real thing. It's important for people to interact with the real world. I get it. I get it. I get it. But as somebody who operates online with their businesses, this is kind of taking a big hit. And for all the reasons I mentioned before, I think it's silly to pretend like this is about data protection when we've seen time and time again that they don't care about our data protection. You ever get those envelopes in the mail where you get like $5 and it's like a company saying, whoopsies, they were hacked, or some bullshit like that. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares here about genuine people. And like, especially when, sorry, the sun just came out and made me happy. um, but yeah, especially when people are like struggling to survive, right? Food's fucking expensive. Uh, Inflation's crazy. The housing prices are crazy. Interest rates are crazy high. Everything's expensive. My head hurts. Medicine's expensive. Doctor's bills are crazy. People are the job market is crazy to me because there's claims that people are hiring, and then I see other people struggling to look for work. I'm still applying for jobs and I haven't really gotten anything either, and I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, I don't know. Things are weird. There's other people in my family I know that have been laid off recently and they still haven't been able to find a job, so it's not just me. But dude, I don't know. I don't know how to function in society anymore, basically. And I would use different social media platforms for escapism. I think a lot of people do. And now that one's being taken away, it just kind of sucks. And it's not even like, again, I think there's other malicious intentions behind getting rid of TikTok specifically. I've kind of focused more on like the financial part of it and why these other companies want to have like a monopoly or a monolith in terms of like social media and limiting on how we share information with one another. Facebook doesn't care about misinformation, and if they buy TikTok, they're not going to fix that because misinformation on Instagram and Facebook was so prevalent during um, the 2016 election. I actually wrote about it in my fucking master's thesis. Like, that's how incestuous it was. And you're talking about foreign influence on people, then why aren't we like fucking getting stricter restrictions on these Russian bots and these Russian accounts that are meant to be devices to people online? And it's, again, I'm quoting my thesis here, but even it's on the left and right. They don't care about misinformation unless like it's not just like, oh, a really conservative view or but I was even following an account on Instagram back then, and it was like a pro black account. And I found out that specific account was owned by like Russian entities, and it was meant to try to divide or enrage people on race relations at the time around the Black Lives Matter protests. Not saying that there's not racial injustice in the U.S. It is. It was just these Russian people were capitalizing off of that and trying to be even more divisive. So some people are taking that argument and saying that like, oh yeah, well there's Chinese influence on TikTok that's trying to do that too. Blah 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 blah. Girl, that's the content I'm getting. All the bitches that are complaining are the ones that are from the U.S. and maybe their content's getting pushed because they're complaining about the U.S. But if so, are they lying? Are they telling any lies here? Anyway, I'm just joshing, but I'm not joshing about my thesis. My thesis was well researched and correct, and I've been correct about all this. It drives me crazy. So yeah, this is just like a thing for U.S. company interests. It always is and it always will be. Follow money trails. There could be. You could argue there's a level of suppression of information as well, but in my opinion, it's just a lobbyist, and it's another way for Zuckerberg to get a hold of another social media platform. If it's not him, it's somebody else, and I'm fairly certain this is coming from his camp. I don't trust that man. Uh, so yeah. Anyway, sorry for listening to me rant about the TikTok ban. I just had a lot of feelings and I wanted to get them out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Excuse me. All that helps me out. And It'll help me out immensely, and maybe one day I can get paid for my labor when it comes to social media content. Yay. Okay. Thank you. And until next time, thanks. Bye.